The topic and discussion for today. Very interesting stuff, man. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to come in. How conservative women act in America. This is some crazy work. White chicks brought to life. I got the volume on mute for a reason. I don't want to show everything off right now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh man, people are tight though online. They tight. They tight. Okay. Another thing too. I just saw this on YouTube right now. I'm triggered. F it. I'm triggered. I'm seeing here Angry Man is still hating on Corey. Am I gonna have to drop an Angry Man this video? Because it's every week he's saying something about sorry, every other day he's trying to say something about him. Misleading the like purposely misleading. He's either purposely really misleading or this dude does zero research. And even in one of the videos he dropped, he out of his mouth said, "Look, I didn't do all my research about this, but so damn, this ninja man. Oh, he only got subscribers. Well, first of all, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna unsubscribe to Angry Man. Let me see if how do I do this? Let me unsubscribe. There we go. So I don't trigger myself. I know Anton's your man and all that, but bruh, come on. You don't have to lie. You don't have to lie to the public. You don't have to lie to the public anymore. Like I said, there's a lot of guys out here like they can't fathom why an orange man will still like say like for example, people can say what they want about Orange Man. Orange Man had 51% of the like he had over 50% of the Caucasian women vote. You know what I mean? Y'all can say what you want about Orange Man, but that's true. As controversial as certain people are, they'll still have a fairly large female fan base. And people will be like, how? Well, if you're true to yourself, if you're really true to yourself, you'll have plenty of women. No matter how misogynist you are, no matter how whatever you are, if you're being true to yourself, people can sense it. People are always shocked when they go to a Corey Holcomb show and they see all these ladies in the crowd. I'm talking about pretty women too. Pretty. Plenty of women. You know what I mean? Like it's more women in there than men. So people will be like, how? Even the stuff that he so-called says about women. Because at the end of the day, he's true to himself. A lot of you manosphere guys, no disrespect, you guys are full of cap. You guys are full of jealousy and envy for your fellow man. And when it's time to really put the truth out there, even if it's for somebody you don't support, when it's time to put the truth out there, you will go against yourself and you will go against the truth just so you can spite your fellow man. And people see right through the facade. So Angry Man is one of these other people too that I can't trust that nigga. Shout out to Cobra Approach in the chat. I have zero respect for Angry Man at this point because I know what type of dude he is. Like when you're making videos, it's one thing to like not like Corey, but when you're making videos and you're just lying about his numbers, you're lying about him losing his audience, and now you have a title on your upcoming live stream saying Corey is trying to do a rebrand. And I'm like, Corey, he's tried doing the repo shows many times. It's just his internet connection ain't shit. I'm like, you looked at Corey Holcomb's last live stream and you said that was a rebrand? Nigga, stop lying. Stop lying, man. I know, like I said, I know Anton Jermans, I know, and there's nothing wrong with defending your mans, but man, stop. Because I'm like, and then I remember seeing another video Angry Man did where he said, "Oh, Corey Holcomb is losing numbers." I'm like, you do know that's a lie. I'm like, you can like all you got to do is check his channel. His numbers is there for right for everybody to see. He's always gonna get 150K plus on on all of his videos. I'm sitting there just like, wow. Oh, by the way, let me show you guys something real quick. Let me show you guys something. Let me show you something real quick because Poetic Flacco, let me show y'all. So Poetic Flacco was another person that was doing a whole bunch of Corey Holcomb videos and lying on his name. So he had to stop because I think Corey Holcomb set that cease and desist on him. But somebody had told me back in the day that Poetic Flacco he used to be part of the No Jumper podcast. I'm like, oh, this nigga, this nigga a plant. This nigga is most likely some kind of federal fed, some kind of gay fed, one of these types of people. And lo and behold, watch this. I type in on YouTube, Poetic Flacco exposed, right? And I see a whole bunch of videos pop up, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got something to work with. But I saw something crazy. This is an old video of Poetic Flacco. Watch this. Look at this.
Happy Halloween. Yum 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 yum. Yum 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 yum. Yum 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 yum. Happy Halloween. Yum 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 yum. Yum 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 yum. Yum 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 yum.
When I tell you guys, all them people that be hating on Corey Holcomb, these guys are fags. I'm sorry. People just get tight because he start talking about basically the people, not necessarily the openly gay people. That's not who he be talking. He talks about the guys that are on the low and they do these down low stuff on the low to gain favors and gain ranking in the game. And he exposes that and people get mad about it. That's it. That's it. And Poetic Flacco was making all those videos and he has this. Somebody, oh yeah, Cobra Pro said, is that really him? Hey man, that looks, a lot of those guys, they got BBLs, right? So, or they was it not not necessarily BBLs, liposuction. So like a lot of these guys before the fame, like they're like fat now, but before the fame they were way fatter. Amen. Amen. Checks out. It makes sense. It makes sense. Nah, that's him, big dog. because they could get you can get your channel flagged for putting false information out there, for lying. Nah, this is spot on. This is Frederick Jalla, right? That's Poetic Flacco's real name, right? Frederick Jalla. Nah, that's him. That's him. That's him. These are the people that be making. These are the people that went out their way. Well, Poetic Flacco, he was paid to kind of run that campaign on Corey, right? That will all be exposed later on in the future, right? Guys like Poetic Flacco, DJ Academics, right? These guys, they'll say the truth from time to time, or they will perpetrate like they're really independent, but they can get paid off. You see how like Academics got easily paid off by Drake and his people. Like, same thing with Poetic Flacco. You give them a little bit of money, they'll start making old types of it. Like, it's easy. That's easy. Like, people don't understand. Like, in America, none of this stuff is real, right? In America, people get paid to walk around in malls to make it seem like the mall is popping. In America, crisis actors, you get people that are crisis actors. You get people that are paid to just stay in an elevator or stay in a mall store to make it seem like, oh, they're about to buy something, but they were really paid off actors to make it seem like the mall is pop. This is America, man. Most of these people, they full of cat, man. And Poetic Flacco, he's one of those guys. So most of his stuff on his channel is him. Oh, he's done. He's exposed. Guys like that, they're easily accessible. Probably got paid off by, because you can get paid probably by Anton Daniels camp or Tasha K's camp, et cetera, to run certain campaigns. There's a reason why they're not doing no more campaign videos on Corey anymore. It's not just because of the cease and desist, because that doesn't stop nothing. I know Corey has some money, but he don't got money like that. No disrespect. Anton Daniels is running out of money to run whatever scam that he's been running. But like, yeah, these are the people that will. I got nothing against Corey. He just needs to go away. And he's a predator. And he's this. Nah, he called y'all out. A lot of you guys are fags. Just keep it real. Hey, I remember, hold on for a second. I remember I was talking about my critique of Dave Chappelle on this channel. And there were some people that were upset with me behind closed doors, when I showed you that even Dave Chappelle wore a dress, right? So a lot of people like to lift up Dave Chappelle as this thing, but I'm like, Dave Chappelle wore lipstick in a girl's outfit. Now, he was young when he did it, right? But that's not an excuse. When I showed the video, because people had a problem with Corey Holcomb having his critique of Chappelle's stand-up. And I'm like, look, I got love for Chappelle. I got love for his talent. His skits were god tier, but he has his flaws too. There were some people behind the scenes, they didn't like what I said, what I put that out there as well. You know, so it is what it is. But the man, that is, boy, he better be happy that Corey hasn't seen this video yet. He should be happy. I'm talking about happy. But just the fact that he used to be on the No Jumper podcast, that tells me everything I need to know about Poetic Flacco. But guys like that, Poetic Flacco, he needs to come clean and just be like, oh, look, such and such paid me money. People pay me money to do this, and people pay me money to do that. And he just got to be open and honest about that. Anywho, let me show you guys something else to start off the show. I'm going to show you guys something else. So on the live stream, on the Corey Holcomb live stream, there was some funny stuff being said, right? Some funny stuff being said on the live stream. Let me share the video with you guys. Let me share the video with you folk. Shout out to Pyro in the chat. He says, did y'all see the 40,000 STD cases in Houston? Well, I'm not surprised. I saw that. Houston is not. And then there are always STD reports, like crazy STD reports coming out of Houston. I remember they were saying that like it was a whole bunch of HIV cases, like of over like in the 10,000s range. I remember the leak. It was a leak. A pharmacist leaked the amount of people that were getting new diagnosis of HIV, and the numbers were crazy. And people were like, "Oh no, I don't." He wasn't allowed to do that, and this might. Well, here we go. More proof. Houston is not the place to be right now. Exactly. He said we all have love for him. He's faulty like everybody else, like with Chappelle. But it seems like people be making excuses for Chappelle, right? That's what I think. Now I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about just in general. Like if you go into the normie world, like people will make excuses for Chappelle bombing, Chappelle being long and drawn out and not getting to the point and all this stuff. It's I'm like, wow, okay. But anyways, check this Corey Holcomb clip out because this happened on the live stream on Tuesday. I was laughing my ass off.
People who are career losers, insistent with their advice. They want you to hear them out. What do you do in that situation?
Man, let me tell you. On behalf of all the women out there, every time a man open up his mouth to tell me anything about me, he ain't never had no baby. So I don't even listen. They ain't made it not one time delivering the baby. Y'all can't tell me shit. How about that? To all the men out there. It's crickets.
Yeah, we knew when we brought you on the show it was going to be a lot.
I'm just saying. They always...
Now look at, this is going to be Corey Holcomb's response to this little diatribe that this lady just, that Trina just put out there. But anyways.
Trying to tell me like we ain't tough. Man, have a baby. How about that?
No. That's the curse God gave you. Yeah. That is your greatest
because we're strong enough to handle it.
No, you were put here to do it.
Yeah, because I can handle it. God don't give you nothing you can't handle. Men can't handle it. That's why they don't do it.
Women were put here to have our children when we're done with them.
Oh my God.
Is this not a fact? I'm sorry. I ain't trying to be mean.
Don't be sorry. Sad. Tell the truth.
When we wash up, we expect you to keep it.
What?
What? That's an honor when you tell us you're pregnant and we be like, good.
It depends on what state of life you in.
Then you can't get a passport and fly nowhere because you're talking about good.
Fuck them up with the callback.
I got this King Kong built bitch pregnant, and
oh my God, King Kong.
We was on the Santa Monica stairs, and I just happened to fall that way. What? I'm just saying.
King Kong.
She was King Kong built.
And you didn't opt for an abortion?
You ever see when King Kong beat his chest?
Yeah.
Just like that.
But I'm saying though, you letting that happen?
That is an interesting quote from Corey Holcomb. Let me rewind that real quick.
Men can't handle it. That's why they don't do it.
Women were put here to have our children when we're done with them.
Oh my God.
Now, how many men, have the guts to say that? Let's stop beating around the bush. Let's stop putting, God and Christianity and all this stuff. If we're going to actually start talking about the natural order of things, let's keep it real. women are here. God put women here so they just can have our babies and we can just whatever. There's like that's it. It's nothing barbaric about this. This is just the natural order of things. He said women were put here.
Give you nothing you can't handle. Men can't handle it. That's why they don't do it.
Women were put here to have our children when we're done with them.
Women. So according to Corey, you see, women were put here to have our children when we're done with them. That is a crazy quote, but it's so true. Look, I say it like this, man. When it comes to commentary like this, I always say the same thing. I like my preachers fire and brimstone. Fire and brimstone preaching. That's how I like my preachers to be. Geno Jennings type. That's how I like it. That's what the standard needs to be. If we're going to keep it real, we need to keep it all the way real. Most of your favorite conservative, whatever, maybe only two other people that might say something this raw in this day and age is maybe Fuentes, maybe Chronic, but in their own ways. Because they're kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. Who else got the balls to say that? Look, bitch, do what God put you here to do. And stop all that whining and fussing and what as a man, what you need to do. No. As a woman, your job is to keep the man after he's done with you. That's your job, to keep the man. Not the man's job to keep you. It's your job to keep the man. Somebody said, Copa Pro said she really thinks she's cooking. He said that ninja said that with a straight face. Look, I'm telling you, man. Go let me see. Go watch that live stream if you guys have the time. Because I was the last live stream. The last live stream was funny as hell. I will say it was definitely funnier than the week before. Definitely funnier than the week before. Wow. So yeah, we're gonna have to save that quote. we're gonna have to save that quote.
To have our children.
That's why they don't do it.
Women were put here to have our children when we're done with them.
Oh my God.
Is this not a fact? I'm sorry. I ain't trying to be mean.
Don't be sorry.
Sad.
Tell the truth.
When we wash up, we expect you to keep it.
What?
Damn. I don't know, is there a black pill for women? Somebody's got to give me something about that. So I got to find out, is there a black pill for women? Because that right there, sheesh. Anywho, man. Let's get more into this. Man. By the way, if you go on Twitter right now, everybody's blowing up the Druski stuff. I saw the skit yesterday, I saw part of the skit yesterday while I was in rehearsal. And I was like, yo, are they making fun of Erika Kirk? And I'm like, I guess my suspicions were right. Okay, right now they say Joe Rogan criticizes MAGA movement as composed of dorks and unintelligent people on his podcast. Oh, you know what's funny? Forget MAGA for a second. You know what's funny? What I've been noticing? I've been seeing like a lot of dudes on Twitter, Instagram, social media, and all this stuff. And it's almost like they're trying to save face. So to placate to their female audience, the topic of their video is, this is why I also think this is why I think the manosphere is trash as well. I've been seeing a lot of these posts on Facebook. When did you decide to leave the manosphere? When did you realize it was all a sham? I was sitting there. This is why I always say the red pill will always it will always survive, because it's plenty of dudes that are still willing to go back to the plantation. All it takes is a hit piece for dudes to scare people off from the content, and they're going to be back where we are 5 to 10 years from now, when they marry some chick that's 27, 26 years old, 28 years old and beyond. She pops out one kid that yeah, she pops out one kid and then decides to alienate you from the kid. And then you're going to be right back where we are, and the cycle happens again. All it takes is a hit piece. There's always a hit piece. It's a vicious cycle. You had the hit piece when Big John went on CNN. That worked. You had these TV shows in between. They talked about the incels, but then now they have successfully grouped the incels with the red pill space. And then now another viral hit piece. Once people in the male space is starting to pick up steam. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. It's funny too, because like I saw a woman, she was at a Jimmy Carr, the comedian Jimmy Carr's one of his shows, and he was asking the audience, what should I talk about? What should I talk about? And somebody's like, Inside the Manosphere by Louis Theroux. And basically what the women expect you to do is to call these guys losers, and for men that are following manosphere content at any point, oh, these are losers and all this stuff, right? So that's what they expect. But Jimmy Carr, he actually gave a pretty thoughtful answer. He said, yeah, men shouldn't be following those specific guys in the documentary, but he said he gave those guys credit for listening to them in the first place. So that's not really what the crowd wanted to hear. The crowd didn't want to hear that. So they gave their little PC applause because it's Jimmy Carr. But that's not what they wanted to hear. What they want to hear is what them simp ninjas are doing. Calling the guys losers and all this stuff. Yeah, that's the easy way out. But anyways, let me bring this story up, because this is kind of funny to me. This is funny to me. Let me bring this up right here. It says 40-year-old working mom of two just said what a lot of women are quietly thinking after years in the corporate grind. I fell for it. Go to college, get the degree. You can have it all. Career, kids, the whole thing. I don't want to do it all anymore. I don't want to take my kids to school, pick them up, blah, 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 blah. I just want to be home and blah, blah, blah. Don't fall for the corporate life. So let's hear it from this TikTok princess that apparently is tired of doing it all by herself. Anyways.
Okay, I'm going to make this quick because I have to go into a meeting. I have 3 meetings today. I've been in the corporate life for almost half my life. For context, I'm 40 years old. I have 2 children who are 11 and 7. And I fell for it. I fell for this thing where, go to college, get your degree, you know, if you want to have kids, you can do it all. You can have a career, you can have kids, you can just do everything. Well, I don't want to do everything. I don't want to do that anymore. I fell for that shit. Do not fall for it. Do not fall for that shit. I want to take my kids to school. I want to pick them up from school. I want to be there when they get home. I want to chaperone for them, volunteer at school. I just want to go to the gym, clean my house, do laundry, go to the grocery store, and just be home. So do me a favor. Do not fall for that shit, because it is not worth it. It's a joke. It's a joke. Don't do it. Be home, find a way to be home, be with your family, be with your kids. Just, it's not worth it. None of this is worth it. So
I fell for it. Feminism tricked me. That's what you're going to be seeing a whole lot of. You know, I told you guys, it's going to be a whole bunch of, oh, I got tricked by feminism. It's just, nah. Let's not do that. By the way, Pyro, great job yesterday. I saw Pyro. He was going in one of these Instagram comment sections. I happened to catch my eye on one of these Instagram comment sections, and Pyro was out there preaching what I've been really trying to push out there. And he picked up on something that even I didn't pick up on, right? Bear with me. This is a little bit off topic, but bear with me with this. bear with me, right? Somebody had posted up a chart of Ruby Rose's dating history. And you had hoes or people basically mad that the guy made the chart in the first place, even though he was actually defending Ruby Rose because he saw somebody in the chart that probably wasn't supposed to be with her if she was underage or whatever. He was actually, you know, he just happened to post a chart. Somebody, one of these people, why are you tracking women's body counts in the first place? Right? Where's my baby count? Where's my baby crying sound effect? Where that at? I just downloaded this. Here we go. That's all I hear, bro. All I hear when he started talking about this nonsense. And Pyro said something actually profound. He said something very profound. He said, because they will just lie and they will say that they got taken advantage of when they were younger, even though they were 30, they were 304s from day one. So this is very powerful. This is some very powerful stuff. This is actually what we've been teaching. I'll say specifically me on this channel. I've been teaching this, that we might have to do stuff like this, and we have to be like, okay, we need to keep track of who you let smash, and we need to put a pie chart and we need to do all the, because later on down the line, we got to keep record of this, because later down on the line, when they're in their 30s and all this stuff, they're gonna act like they didn't know what they were doing, and their prefrontal cortex didn't work, and it didn't develop, and all this nonsense. So we keep record. So if we have somebody keeping record of the niggas you've been with right now, and they got a whole chart, you can't be mad. If you're a woman and you're fucking with a dude and he want to record, he's recording the sex tapes and all that. He's really doing it to protect himself, because later down on the line, you're going to say that, oh, I didn't know what happened. I was drunk and I passed out. I didn't know what happened. Nope. You can't do that. It's going to be a lot, because it's going to be a lot of hoes doing that. Now, I know this was off topic, but I had to bring this up just to say this. It's the same thing with this nonsense with the feminism. It's going to be a whole bunch of broke, overworked hoes, former OnlyFans broads, even women that did it the right way and went to college and got a decent job, they're still going to get tired. And what they're going to say, I got tired. I got tricked. I got tricked by feminism. I fell for the corporate this and I fell for the corporate. Nah, nope. This is why we need to keep tabs. Because I promise you, I promise you, because she's 40 years old. I promise you, even like, I'll say 5 years ago, I promise you, she was talking cash money-ish, talking about how she's this and she's that and all this nonsense. Let's look up her TikTok. Let's look up it up. It says Ash Wishman. That's her TikTok. Oh, Lord. I'm trying to search it up. Ash Wishman. Here we go. Found her TikTok. Wait a minute. So she's married. Because she says she does have 2 kids. So she's a married mom of 2. The fuck is she complaining about? what is wrong with these bitches, man? So she mad that her husband got to work and then she got to work. Well, that's the economy that you created. There was a time where it was the husband would work and then the mom would have like a part-time job to supplement the income at times, or she would have a teacher job or a nurse job to supplement the income that the man was bringing home. But her whatever job that she selected, it was flexible enough where she could still put the kids first. So she's mad that she has to have a full-time job and then her husband also has to have a full-time job. Well, welcome to 2026. This is the job market that women created. You signed up for your own slavery. A married mom of 2 complaining about having to do her job. This is actually even worse now that I'm thinking about it. This is worse. This is what you signed up for. I'm pretty sure her husband was like, you know what? I know you work. I know we need both incomes and all this stuff, but maybe you should take a back seat. Maybe we could because maybe we should downsize a little bit, but still prioritize the kids. But that would, require you to kind of sacrifice a little bit when it comes to your job hours. I'm pretty sure whatever she's doing way too much, and she does not have to do all of that. Let me look at this.
Else's marriage, because as you can tell, there were so many comments for me to choose from and I can't keep up with them all, but this one's, just another ridiculous one that I get to read. So it's not about my marriage. I'm good. I'm referring to someone else's marriage because as you can tell in the comments, there's differing opinions. And so therefore I'm not just going to assume it's okay for me to message or get some husband's phone number. It's just not appropriate.
Let's look at this.
Okay, I'm going to make this quick because I have to go into a meeting. I have 3 meetings today. I've been in the corporate life for almost half my life. For context, I'm 40 years old. I have 2 children who are 11 and 7. And I fell for it. I fell for this.
No, you did not. No, you did not. Nah, shout out to this comment right here, actually. Shout out to this comment. Now, I don't agree with the first part. She said everyone lied. No, but I do agree with the second part. He says she says you either have kids or a career. You cannot have both without intense sacrifice. Most women have been taught that you can still have it all. Now, if she's saying that she has a husband, so why is she still doing maybe it's time to start putting your kids first and stop putting your career first. Especially since you have support at home. You clearly do. How much you want to bet her husband he's probably told her, hey, maybe you should. Oh man. But anyways. 40 years, she says she's a 40-year-old working mom of 2 with a career. It looks like she's just making life hard on herself. But yeah, do not fall for that nonsense. He says she has a job she hates. Apparently she does. Apparently. I don't know why she's still, if you have a husband and he clearly works, I know he's not just staying at home and doing nothing. Let me look at this.
We know I'm in the corporate life. I don't know if other women are in a more male-dominated industry or field, or maybe even not male-dominated. I'm just speaking from experience that anybody I have ever worked for, if they were male, which 95% of the time they were, their wives did not work. And I would politely remind them, while I'm here doing the same job as you and the same functions and responsibilities, all the stuff that your wife is doing while you're here, I get to do when I go home. So let's just keep that in perspective. We know I'm in the corporate life. I don't know if
that's what you decided to do. This is why it's this is okay. This is why it's pointless. I know a lot of ladies are going to get upset with this, but this is why it's very pointless to empower women when it comes to job opportunity, job growth. If they're going to complain about they're complaining about doing the stuff that they were going to have to do anyways. Like if you're a woman that lives by yourself, you're still going to have to, even after your job. Oh my God, after my job, I have to clean the sink and I have to do this. I'm like, if you, whether you had a family or not, you was going to have to still take care of your house or pay somebody to take care of your house when you come home. Like they complain about the things that has to be done regardless. So there's no point in complaining about it. Oh my God. Anyways. But yeah, don't ever fall for that shit. Oh man, I fell for the corporate life. Nah, you did exactly what you wanted to do. And the older you're getting, you're realizing I want to be in my so-called soft girl era. And I'll say this will be even worse. If say she is the breadwinner in this situation, this is really bad. That means she resents her husband like an MFer. That means she heavily resents her husband. And Pyro said, I have a sister who's just like that. Man, I'll say this, man. Luckily for me, that hasn't been that much of a problem when it comes to the female relatives in my family. But they still understand what the game is. They understand that, look, if I'm gonna enter this workforce, I'm gonna have to be working for the next 30 to 40 years. No breaks. Right. But there's a lot, particularly when it comes to Caucasian women, they don't they like, especially women like this, they don't understand what is, you know, required. They're not I don't think they're too privy to like what you have to do. Like when you're a man just working, you know what I mean? But anyways, anywho. Yeah, he said so she'd rather be alone at this point. Like I don't know what she complaining about. But if she is the breadwinner, it makes sense. This will actually all make sense if she is the breadwinner, and that still proves my point that like this is you're not supposed to empower people like this. She's complaining about stuff that is just what men are just required. Like it's already a prerequisite for men to do that. You know what I mean? Like you thought you was just gonna be the breadwinner and just come like and just that's it, and then everything's just gonna fall in place. No, the more money you have, the more jobs you have, the more money you have, the more assets that you have, the more responsibility that you have. They want breadwinner money, but they don't want breadwinner responsibilities. So I don't get these people. I really don't get these people. And then especially with her case, she has a husband at home. So I don't know why she's talking about being burnt out and having to do this and but most parents nowadays they prioritize. I believe men and women, the parents of today, they prioritize their careers over their kids. That's just my opinion. Even the so-called conservatives, they prioritize their careers. They prioritize, you know, mogging. You know, people like to make fun of Gen Z for saying the word mogging, but this is what millennials and Gen X. This is what they do. They'll sacrifice, you know, being around for their kids to mog their neighbors. Their neighbor buys a truck, so they have to. They'll take up another job so they can buy the money so they can get a truck. Keeping up with the Jones. Cappy talks about this stuff all the time. Shout out to Cappy. You know, so this is this is ridiculous. But anyways, let me bring up. Do I have the? Oh, I have the skit up right here. Let me do one more video. Oh man, we have another video that went viral just right now.
Thinking about
This is interesting. I don't know if this is a TikTok per se, but I just saw it. I just saw it and I just saved it, so I didn't really look at it yet. So shout out to this TikTok creator. Yeah, he said, "Dang, that is mogging." Yeah, that is mogging. You know, people want to act like these are new terms. No, we just put a different. It's a different slang, but it's the same stuff, right? Back then, people say hello. Now we say what's up. But now we say what's good. It's the same. It's the same thing. You know, we have these terms now, mogging, but we do this to each other all the times. Keeping up with the Joneses, just mogging. Same thing. Oh man, Gen Z and their vernacular and nah, ain't nothing new under the sun, man. But anywho. The parents, they've already decided their kids' fate. They don't. A lot of these parents, they don't care about their kids. Like even the term, just the fact that the term co-parenting is a thing where it's just normalized. I'm like, oh, y'all don't care about your kids. you guys don't care about your kids. These motherfuckers will have their kids living out of backpacks and suitcases and airport luggages. They will do when it comes to the custody exchange, it's almost like they doing a drug. This is we don't like this is ridiculous. Even like some of the dudes, they will talk about how they'll talk about, oh man, I gained custody of my kids and I was able to do this. I'm like, you had to do all of that just so you can get 50%. It's just so now you're bragging about your win, or the wife is bragging about your custody win. Meanwhile, the kid is literally he's just bragging. This nigga, the kid should be able to be in one house, right? That's just what I believe. You shouldn't be having kids. Like, I remember even growing up. Have you ever seen those kids? You know, the kids that had the divorced parents. Like, I remember back in the day, this used to be a normal occurrence. Follow my lead here, right? Stay with me now. Like Chad Ochocinco would say. You have these kids. I'd be in class when I was in elementary school. Teacher comes around. Hey, anybody? Do you guys got your homework? And I'd be like the first one. I don't got it. I didn't do it. Oh, Chris, you be. Oh, okay, my bad. It is what it is. Hey, such and such, do you have your homework? Oh yeah, I do. Wait a minute, I can't find my folder. Did you leave your folder in your locker? I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, another, and then I used to, hey, you right with me, right? I used to be, but homeboy goes to the locker, he still can't find his folder. He comes back crying. I left my folder at my mom's house. And then I'm like, what do you mean? And I used to be like, what do you mean you left it at your mom's house? And then I'll be like, and they'd be like, well, I had to stay with my dad, and then I had to go back with my mom. I'm like, so, and like when I was a kid, I used to be like, so why don't your parents live together? Imagine me as a black kid saying this to a white kid. Literally, this is true. This is real life right here. Why your parents? Oh, well, they divorced and all this stuff, and so I visit my dad on the weekends, and then I stay. These kids, you know how many times I've seen stuff like this. These kids they'll leave their backpacks at their parents' house because of of a custody exchange, and then they were supposed to stay at the dad's house, but then the mom they didn't want him to stay that long, and then they got to go back to the passive aggressiveness when they meet up each other at the school meetings. Like, this is we don't care about our kids, bro. We don't. We just don't. XVY Jay-Z says same. I went to white schools and my parents were still married, so they could have used that stereotype on me. Like, I always say this: if you're, I think the parents should be obligated to stay together. Especially, I'm talking about if you're married, they should be obligated to stay together for at least up until you're 18. Now, after you're 18, right? You go to like, or after, I'll say like 17, 16, right? Once you have a job, once you finally have a job, then if your parents want to, split apart or whatever, it is what it is. But even then, it's people don't even understand. Even that's crazy, because okay, now imagine, because these parents, they'll get divorced literally 2 or 3 years after they marry. All this nonsense. You divorce. All right, now you have your graduation. Now the kid has to worry about, oh man, I got my parents, they can't sit together because they both being immature. They both took each other to court, and then imagine you get married. Now you got to have separate seating arrangements. Or how about somebody in your family dies? Now all of your parents, they can't stay. This is just, we don't care about kids. I laugh when people start talking about, oh man, what about the kids? Man, stop. Oh man, Pyro the Flame King says this is the worst time to get a divorce because nobody's trying to pay no judge money. I think you're trying to say pay any judge any money. It's the same. I went to the white schools and my parents were still married, so they couldn't use the stereotype. But it was interesting because I'm sitting there, I'm asking the kid, where I'm like, so why don't your parents live together? I was like, I didn't know what divorce was. When I was in elementary school, I didn't know what divorce was until like middle school. I still didn't even I thought it was just like one of those things where it was like, it was just not a thing. It was not, that was just something I just didn't see. Right. So things, like I said, things are different for my parents now, but I'm just saying, like when I was growing up, like the church that I was at, there was no divorce. That wasn't a thing. That's just not, it's not an option. Right. So I literally, I didn't know what that was until I went to white schools. That's the irony. I went to these motherfuckers. This is crazy work. But I was part of a church community that was just not, divorce was not a thing. It was like, first of all, when it comes to a lot of the, when you're talking about parents that grew up in a different culture, that grew up in a different country, when they say "till death do us part," they really mean that. Like it'll end with guns a-blazing, but when they say "till death do us part," they mean that ish. Till death, literally, do us part. Not in America. But anyways, let's do this video of this broad here. She says she is unemployed. She is 22 years old in this 2026 economy. Let's hear her out. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt because I haven't watched the video yet. I just saved it. I don't know what this is about. This is a live reaction.
This is the worst time to be unemployed too, like, girl. And now I'm just thinking about the money that I lost, the income that I lost. I'm broke as fuck. Rent too. Like, I'm like losing my mind now. 2 days I've been like chill, like whatever, like it is what it is. And now it's like, oh. I'm so screwed, y'all. I literally am.
That's happening to, I'll say this is happening to a lot of women that are in the like white collar jobs that they, the so-called corporate baddies making what about like 70 to 80K a year, right? Some of them 100K, some of them 90 to 100K a year, but most of them, these are the so-called corporate baddies, they call themselves, that are making 60 to 80K a year. So a lot of them are in this predicament if they decided to do anything technology related, if anything office related. A lot of these jobs are getting replaced by AI, Skynet, all this stuff. So it's a lot of women going through that right now. All them HR baddies, the HR baddies, right? The diversity, the diversity department, bitches. A lot of them are going through that right now. Now, here's the thing. This is what stuck out to me with this broad right here. Where's her man? I know some fat bitches that got a man right now. Where's her man? You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's too many women I know that are like this and they got no man. And I'm like, where's your man? And why are you in the city? Yeah, these bitches like that, they'll leave their little small town or whatever town they from, and they'll move to the city, like to New York City, downtown Manhattan, one of these spots, Brooklyn or whatever main city. They'll move to these metropolis places, right? Metropolises, I don't know how to say the term. These big cities, buy a condo that's way out of their price range, and they will put themselves in like legit like like crazy amount of debt. And I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? Where really you could still keep your job, because you're at the time you're still young, you can keep your job, you're 22. She should have already left college engaged. She doesn't look fat. She looks conventionally decent. She's not ugly. When you look at her, she's not ugly. Where is her Fernando? Where is her Ramon? Her Jose? Her Angel Riveras? Where's your man? You mean to tell me you couldn't find a man so where both of you guys could work, especially when you're young? If both of you guys are young, both of you can work, both of you guys can save, and then you could actually build something, maybe have a kid around 25, 26 years old. Why are you at 22 and you out there living by yourself doing what? And now you're already in a position where you're 22 and you're economically screwed already at 22 after leaving college? Who's giving these hoes the counseling, the advice? Where are they getting their counseling, their advice from? Because I could care less. Like, this bitch could die and I could literally care less, literally. But clearly the women that are giving these young ladies advice, I don't, wow. It's just this is, that's all I can say. And by the way, the economy is tough right now. This economy ain't no joke, right? Luckily for me, I have helped myself, but like right now, you need to be a part of a team if you want to survive this economy. And what's I'll say what's even heartbreaking for a woman like this, she doesn't know what to do in terms, like, she don't know how to keep a man. She has no options but to be a corporate slave master. And those jobs that she was probably bragging about, those jobs are going to be gone. And if they do come back, they're not going to give it back to women. If, like, say if some happens and these jobs somehow come back, right, they're not going to give it to women. And if they are, it's going to be given to white women. No disrespect, right? So this is like, I don't know what these hoes are out here doing. Where is her? Where's her man? Where's the first? Where's her dad? Where's the any male family members that she can stay with? What, I don't know. Like at 22, like say if she grew up in the 90s, she would have already been, first of all, if she grew up in the 90s, she would have already been married. Like if she was born in like 1970 something and she was like 22 years old in the 90s, she would already be married and probably with a kid on the way. And actually be in a better economic position, believe it or not. She would actually be in a better economic position. And her kid would actually be in a better economic position. That's like the irony of all this stuff, where you have women just like forgoing to have families, forgoing, doing things the right way, and just going, I'm gonna be a corporate baddie and all this nonsense, doing everything in their power to avoid having to be with and mate with the average man. They're doing all this stuff, and now that's going to be their saving grace, to find a man, just a man. That's literally going to be their saving grace. And they don't even have the tools to do that, to find a man, to keep a man. So this is a very scary future, because I already know she can't cook. I already know she can't do the basics. She don't know how to if she has a car, she has a car, she doesn't even know how to do the basics on her car, oil check and all these things, to change her tire. She can't even do any of these things, right? if her brake lights are sorry, if her car lights are out, what to do, and like she out here. I already know she's out here messed up because I know women personally that are making six figures, living in New York City, living in Manhattan, living in Brooklyn, and it's literally if they miss one check, they're gonna get evicted from their spot. So I already know in her case, her being 22, she's probably only making, I'm not going to say only, but she is making the average salary, probably from $50,000 to $60,000 a year because she's 22. But at that point, you can't be living by yourself not at that age, not with that salary. You need a man. But anyways, anywho. Yeah, where's her Chavez? Where's her Jose? Where's her Ramon? Where's her Pablo? Where's you need to tell me, let's look, come on. Like, let's keep it a buck. What would you rate her? Guys, what would you rate her? I'm gonna play the video without the sound. Oh, my bad. My bad. I'm gonna play the video without the sound. Let's just look at her and just be like, where would you rate her? I don't even like, she doesn't even look really fat. I don't see any. Oh, I see a tattoo. Never mind. I see a tattoo. It's nice. It's covered. It's on. She has a chest tattoo. I could barely see it. Right. But if you were to rate her out of 10, 0 out of 10, I would put her a strong 5. This is a strong 5 out of 10. Where if she were to get like really in shape, this is a strong 5. A strong, I'll say a strong 5. I would, like, if somebody were to say she's a 6, I wouldn't even bat an eye. This if somebody said this is a strong 6, I wouldn't bat an eye. But I would say this is a very strong 5. Believe it or not. And she could actually get more points if she was a little bit more in shape. But her face, she's not an ugly individual. She got that Native American, Inca. Like, this is clearly a descendant of the. That's low key how I like. Like I said, I don't like my Latinas to be Europeanized, right? I want my European women to be European. I want my Black women to be Black women, and I want my Latinas to be straight, Inca looking, right? Native American. Tribal looking. That's how I like my natives to look like, right? Exactly how they're supposed to look like. So on that scale, we could give her a strong 6 out of 10 or a strong 5 out of 10. She could get a dude. She can get a dude. I know fat versions of her that got tattoos, kids from different baby daddies and all, and they're still able to find a man. She can find a man. It's just that she doesn't like women like this. They think they can beat the system because they know that really what their future, they know their future is, I got to be with an average dude. And they want nothing to do with that until they're like at their last and final straw. That is the only time that they will consider a so-called average dude, even though the average dude could literally save her, from destroying herself. So it's a whole bunch of chicks like this. That that are trying to beat the game, that they're trying to skip steps. doing everything in their power to avoid being with the average man, or placating to the average man, investing with the average man. Right. So this is some very interesting stuff. So you're going to see a lot of women like this in precarious situations. But yeah, I know a girl like this. Her family is based in the Middle East. I don't want to say the country's name. And no, it's not the small hat country, but I'm just saying I don't want to say the country's name. And as successful as she is, as responsible as she is, and I know her sister, she's one missed paycheck away from where she got to, like, she would have to be like, she would be screwed. Her and her family being screwed would be screwed. But I'm still rooting for them because I know them personally and all that, and that's a whole other story. But there's a lot of these young ladies out here in very precarious situations, because I already know she's not making over 60K. Or sorry, let me take that back. She's not making over like 80K or 70K. She's making about 65K tops. 65K tops. But still living in the city, still living in an expensive, like, what they call luxury condo, luxury apartment. But anyways, XVY JC says she's a 5, a 5.3. Yeah, I would say, yeah, an adjustable 5. Yeah, that's about right. An adjustable 5. There's potential here. There's potential. Like, I'll keep it a buck with you guys. I would like if she didn't have that chest tattoo, if a woman similar to that, of that ilk, and we were to chat it up and we were to have a good time, I'd be like, okay, let's see what's up. Let's see how we can what we can make of this situation. I would test it out in terms of more than just, I'll smash, because yeah. it doesn't take much for men to smash. But I would see, okay, let's see what we can do with this. You know what I mean? If somebody like that without the chest tattoo were to approach, I'll see what's up. Right? Pyro says, no mixed people. I know you were a racist POS. By the way, Pyro he jokes a lot, by the way. But, here's the thing. I'll say this. I know, but on a serious note, when it comes to people of mixed race, just be careful with that. Just be careful with that. It's a lot of whole, like, if you messing with someone of mixed race, you better make sure that their parents are together, or both of their parents are in talking terms, and you need to make sure she grew up in a stable environment, because I'll be meeting a lot of these, mulattoes, these half breeds, and because they didn't grow up in a stable situation, they're crazier than everybody else. Right? So when you're dealing with a mixed person, specifically where their parents, one is of one race, one is of the other, it's very imperative that they grew up with both, and both of their parents are in, comfortable talking terms. Mixed kids can very ill afford to have parents that are not on the same page. They can ill afford that, because that's just from my observation. Especially when you're dealing with, like, okay, one parent is one color, one parent is the other, or whatever. One parent is with one different race, one parent is of a whole other different race. It is imperative that the parents are on the same page. Very imperative. Because you don't want that kid growing resentment for one part of his race because one parent was there or one parent was not there. So this is, you got to be careful with that. Anyways, let's bring up Let's see here. Let me see if I can bring up another ting here. But I'm not gonna lie. I would see what's up. Like, especially like say say if I was 22 at that, like if I was 22 or 23, I would definitely go out with this one. Now I'm 27. Things are a little bit different for me now, so that would be more of a just like, okay, we talk from here and there. She has my number. We meet from time to time. That would be a different arrangement. Like if at my age, but if I was 23, 22, and if she was nice enough, chest tattoo and all, at 22, I would be like, oh maybe should I take it the next step? If she's nice enough, I'll be like, shit, should I take it the next step? Is dealing with her racist ass parents, is it worth it? I'll be like, maybe it's worth it to go through it. This is why we always advise women at that age. That's like when you're talking about that college age, that's when you should be really looking for your man. That's the time to do it. This shit where they think they can go through their 20s and skip that process and then try to find their dream man at 29, 28, 30, plus 30 years old and all this nonsense. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. But anywho. Also, did you guys see this? Did you see this Claire video? Elon Musk's baby mother. This was funny. I saw this. This was funny. I might make a video of this. So we're gonna have the interviewer. He's gonna ask her, what was it like being around Elon Musk, and what is the relationship between you from back then and what it is in compared to what it is now. So this is very interesting. This is a very interesting exchange. And notice the language that she's going to use when describing her relationship dynamics between her and Elon.
It doesn't seem like he sleeps. He's like tweeting all night. He's very manic. He has 13 children, multiple ex-wives. Like, I don't understand how he, what is it like to be in his orbit?
When I first met him, I thought he was very interesting, especially I was 23, 24 at the time, and guys my age are not talking about philosophy or Schopenhauer or the Greeks.
He's talking about Schopenhauer?
Yes, to a degree. So, finding someone who could speak about something.
Ma'am. Stop. Oh, he was the only man talking about Schopenhauer and philosophy. Elon Musk is a billionaire. That's why he was around that dude, man. Let's good Lord. But anyway.
And at the time, you think this individual is a part of something so much bigger than themselves and they're fighting the good fight. That's very intoxicating to a young girl who's does not have a fully developed prefrontal cortex at the time. So I think there's been.
In other words, now she's saying she was an underage 24-year-old. I was an underage 24-year-old. Oh my goodness!
A difference in my view since I've developed that.
It doesn't seem like he sleeps.
Hey man, they should have never introduced that to the lexicon, that whole prefrontal cortex nonsense. Because I knew as soon as they introduced that to the lexicon, I already knew hoes was going to use that forever. I knew it. Man, this is ridiculous. But anyways, let's do a replay on this. Let's replay this. I'm going to do this a little bit faster. Let me see if I can do this at 1.5 speed. Let's do the replay.
It doesn't seem like he sleeps. He's like tweeting all night. He's very manic. He has 13 children, multiple ex-wives. Like, I don't understand how he, what is it like to be in his orbit?
It's easy. When you got money, you got hoes. I don't understand why this is still like I still don't understand why this is a thing where people got to figure out, man, why was this girl with this dude and then all this stuff? Net worth his net worth umpteenth $1 billion. Okay, this makes sense. I wonder what it could be.
When I first met him, I thought he was very interesting, especially I was 23, 24 at the time.
Yeah, you were a 23, 24-year-old. You were a young woman interested in an older man with money. Like, nothing more needs to be said right there. He was a very interesting man. Yeah, he had some very interesting money.
And guys my age are not talking about philosophy or Schopenhauer or the Greeks.
Oh yeah, here we go. Guys my age aren't doing this. It's the don't you? This is why I saved this video. It's the same language that they were using in high school. The same language that they'll use in high school. Guys my age aren't doing this. Guys my age aren't doing that. Guys my age. It's the same nonsense. The same excuse on why they sleep with older men for money, or why they keep kids with older men. I've shown you the study where they said like over 70% of teen pregnancies, the baby father was over the age of 20 something years old. They said something, it's like over 21 years old. Over 70% of teenage pregnancies is they're basically telling you over 70% of teenage pregnancies is by the baby father is by grown men. It's the same excuse. The excuse. All the excuses on why they don't want to build with men their age. They don't want to develop a relationship from the ground up with men their age. They want to just skip. They want to skip. They just want to skip the hard times. They just want to skip to the headline. So they go with a man with resources, or they go with a man that looks like he has resources. And they think that's never going to backfire.
Talking about Schopenhauer?
Yes, to a degree. So, finding someone who could speak about something. And at the time, you think that
finding someone with money. We get it.
This individual is a part of something so much bigger than themselves and they're fighting the good fight. That's very intoxicating to a young girl.
Uh-oh, here we go. Intoxicating to a young girl. Oh, the power dynamics. Oh my goodness.
Who's does not have a fully developed prefrontal cortex at the time. So I think there's been a difference. Usually
the simps will laugh along when a girl like this will say something like this, but even he couldn't even laugh at that because he's like, ma'am, you were 24. Are we still gonna use this whole prefrontal cortex? Ma'am, stop. This is getting ridiculous. But notice it's the same excuses. It's the same language. XBY Jay-Z says he talked about the solar system and I was so into him, head ass. Like this is like you can't make this stuff up if you tried. Literally, you can't make this stuff up if you tried. Oh, he was just so into books and all this. You do a Google, who's Elon Musk? Net worth. Oh. Okay. He's fighting the good fight. Oh my goodness, man. This is Also, do you also XVY Jay-Z notice there's a thing that I've been noticing as well, where you have like these women where every time they said they meet their celebrity boyfriend somewhere at a bar or whatever, the origin story is always the same. Now they'll say the same thing. They'll be like, I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who he was. That's the new thing they say now. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea he was a $100 million athlete, and I had no idea he was he was a superstar soccer athlete that was worth 500 million. Man, stop. They you know. But women, I'll say this: women are funny when they do stuff like this. I'll give it to them. Women do. They make me laugh when they do stuff like this. When they speak over everything except the obvious. Oh man. Anywho, let me continue to let me play the rest of it. But there's only like 5 seconds left of that. Where is it? Here we go.
It's in my view since I've developed that.
yeah. There's been a difference of view ever since you kept his kid, and now you're getting money for keeping his kid after you sent out of all the kids that she done sent to the gulag, she decided to keep Elon Musk's kid. Hey man, seems like her prefrontal cortex was developed enough to do that. Oh man. By the way, hold on for a second. Why can I not find this clip? Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to clip this. This is what I'm going to clip.
Relationships are based on
This is what I'm going to clip. Eventually, I will clip this. So just in case, when we start talking about why women are with certain men and why women are with, certain types of dudes and all this stuff, this is the video that I will always reference to. This is an old clip from Corey Holcomb from 2014, I believe, 2014 or 2013. Right here.
just started. The original liar is the woman, and she continues to lie her way through life. And now, I'm just saying, and now the offspring of wretched club bitches rule the street. The offspring of wretched club bitches are out there in large numbers. Brothers used to have to worry about the police and stuff like that. Now you have to worry about these misguided children that was raised by a woman who her backup comes from the court system, and the children are trained against the man.
Are you saying
yes
that hold on.
This is facts. This is facts so far. But this is what I'm going to be clipping. This is what I'm going to be clipping, because these first 2 minutes basically explains everything that's going on, everything that's gone wrong with the dynamics between men and women, and the intrusion of the government in family affairs.
Are you saying that a woman cannot raise a balanced child on her own without the help of a man?
What I'm saying is, because diamonds are a girl's best friend, they don't care that the person who is giving them their power is destroying the community. They are still willing to go with that because they get the rewards.
Absolutely. But what about what DT said about balance? This is what I think.
There can never be balance unless the person who is in power, who should be in power, is in power. The people in power now are evil. And women are like, well, fuck it, they in power, so we running with them.
So you saying whoever got the power, they got the women.
Right, so we don't have to worry about the women necessarily, because they will follow whoever is in power.
Dr. Mark does not agree with
These are facts. This is why you have an Ashley St. Clair with an Elon Musk. This is why you have people want to talk about Melania, right? Orange Man's main team. That's why Melania's with Orange Man. This is no matter what kind of abuse victim you think she is, she's with him. She wanted to be with him. That was her choice. Women are choosing to be with these people. These guys are not deadbeats.
If I got money at the club, I got power. I can fuck most of the bitches in the club. And I know motherfuckers don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. Whoever's in power, that's who the women will follow automatically.
Good
so
or bad?
our war is
So I
not
can be a devil worshiper, but if I got power,
our war is not with the women. There are resources. Our
Maybe you
war,
want some more Lucifer Jews?
right? Our war is with the people in power.
Absolutely.
They'll follow behind once we get our power back.
Interesting. You don't agree?
That is what I'm gonna clip. These first 2 minutes, I gotta make that into a clip, and I probably I gotta edit it because there's obviously some filler stuff in there, some pro-black stuff in there that I gotta filter out. But this is some real ish right here. XVY Jay-Z says women choose the winners even against morality. And you see that throughout history. It's rare that you're gonna find a situation like where there was a tribe in Ethiopia recently where a warring faction came and invaded the tribe, and the women that were invaded, the wives basically that were invaded, they committed self-deletion because they rather commit self-deletion than having to mate with the warring tribes. That's how loyal they were, right? So that's rare because loyal women, their bloodline don't get passed on. So this is something that men have to keep in mind, that women aren't even biologically, they aren't even bred to be loyal. You know what I mean? So this is simple biology. This is simple nature. This is simple human nature. Right? Pyro says the same as Cassie with Diddy. Exactly. This is why now you got Cassie getting sued by these male prostitutes, because the actuality is Cassie was basically Ghislaine to Diddy. Cassie was the Ghislaine in this operation, but in America, you can do the dirt with your man, but then turn over that same man over to the state when you're done with him and act like a victim of abuse, when the reality was these guys were Bonnie and Clyde. But anyways, I will clip that. I will eventually clip that and put that as part of my clips. Ashley St. Clair, you ain't shit, bro. Come on. like let's not do this. But anyways, let's go to Druski. Let's look at this skit. This should be quite funny. Shout out to B Watkins. He's right on time. He says, how long will the stream be? I hope it's long. I don't know. I'm about an hour and a half in and I'm already at exactly where I need to be. So, hey, we don't know. Hopefully it does last long into, hopefully it does go past 9 o'clock, because I have time on my hands. Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to because I did a live stream before my rehearsal. But I could only get 17 minutes in. B Watkins says he says I'm still at work. Hope it goes on for another 2 hours. Yeah, so because there's a lot of people. They say they listen to me at work, because I be having a lot of my streams be like 4 hours. I've had some 5-hour streams, you know. B Watson says, I dislike Druski, but his mannerisms in Erika is way too accurate. F that Israel shit. Oh man. But when I saw the skit, when I saw a part of the skit last night, it was at rehearsal, and I just saw the picture. I'm like, is that Druski? I'm like, oh my God. I showed it straight to the singer, one of the singers I was working with. And I was like, is this supposed, and I'm like, I was talking to her. I was like, is this supposed to be Erika Kirk? And she was like, nah, there's no way. I was like, I'm like, this is Erika Kirk. This gotta be Erika. Well, to be fair, I could only show her that skit because everybody else in the group, I don't think they'd be mature enough to handle what I was putting out there. As soon as I saw that, I was like, is that Erika? Nah. Oh man. B. Waska says, to be fair, I don't doubt this doubles as a humiliation ritual and as a political use to like it'll be interesting, once the next election cycle arrives. I'll see. I gotta see who the Democrats roll with, because not like you guys know, I don't like on my channel. I don't even vote. I just be. I know it might people might say that's irresponsible of me. It might be this, it might be that, but I don't have any real skin in the game. And if I'm going to start voting, it's going to be somebody that I'm putting money behind. You know what I mean? So that's how voting works anyways. And besides, even at the local level, it's already rigged. It's rigged from my vantage point, only because I've seen a lot of these people behind closed doors. It's almost like it's almost the same way like how I look at church. I can't really take it seriously because I've been a part of too many behind the scenes situations when it comes to churches, especially when you talk about mega churches. Like when I was a kid, I was already selected to be. There was this one specific church, I can't say the name. I was going to be a musician there. I'm talking about for the main service at middle school. I was already selected to do that, but my parents decided to leave that church, so I couldn't do that anymore. But I've already seen the behind the scenes. It's so it's just like it's like, yeah, whatever. I can't really take it seriously. And then on top of that, I'd be knowing these people. I'd be seeing them behind closed doors too many times. So Modown says, how is a skit proving conservatives are a joke? Well, there's many reasons why that conservatives are a joke. This is just like one of many reasons, right? But everybody can see what's going on. The conservatives they're not solid right now. They're not in a solid place. Now, I don't even think like if the Democrats were smart, they would actually capitalize that a little bit more. But they're still on that whole, racism and social justice and all that. But really, all they have to do is just like if they actually wanted to win the battle or the war, they would just stick on the small hat influence in the conservative party, even though the small hat influence is still part of the Democrats. But if I was the Democrats, I would capitalize off of that. But they don't, because there's small hat influence when it comes to the Democrats as well. So when it comes to politics, it's pointless, because if the e-files proved anything, it's just, or if the leaks proved anything, it shows that as a country, we're not even serving our best interests right now. We're literally serving another country. And there's people in the conservative party that will defend this tooth and nail. And don't get me started with the conservative women, the so-called women in the conservative party. So this is where the skit is going. So this is why this is why this is actually very important, because even the mainstream sees the grift. I'm talking about even the normies can see the grift when it comes to the females in the conservative space. So this is very interesting. So let's take a look at this skit right here.
Get on your feet,
Obviously, this is a reference towards when literally at Charlie Kirk's funeral. This was basically her entrance. It was always, she had like basically a WWE like entrance, almost similar to the hold on for a second. Remember Diddy's entrance to Biggie's funeral? Biggie's funeral. Remember Diddy was sitting there dancing?
Without you being.
Y'all remember this, man? Oh man, obviously I can't play the music. This is the same energy, man. The same energy. Yeah, this whole ass nigga dancing, having Faith Evans singing her lungs out, while this whole ass nigga dancing in the background. This is nasty work, man. You set up the death of this ninja, and you come out there dancing. This is a diabolical nigga right here. Like for real, like Diddy, that is a diabolical Negro right there. Don't I got that sound bite? Here it is.
This is a sick Negro.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, man.
War is raging in Iran. We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
how about all
the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is the
Yo, he got Erika Kirk spot on so far.
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is my.
By the way, there is a video of Erika Kirk holding the Bible like very performatively while doing an interview. This is not him exaggerating. Erika Kirk did this. Remember when I showed you the church skit that Druski did? That was not no exaggeration. Like, these were preachers got caught doing these exact things that he's making fun of. These are not exaggerations right here. I saw you guys responding to Mow Down. What do you mean the conservatives are a joke? Well, they kind of are, unfortunately. Oh man, B. Watkins says conservatives can't even decide if they are actually conservative or if they are 80s Democrats. Like the Conservative Party right now, they're not even conservatives. These are moderates at best. It's just the left wing is so far left, they deem anything that is not left related, that means you're far right. So they'll say with a straight face that they'll be like, oh man, they'll say that Joe Rogan is part of the manosphere and that he's far right. They said that Theo Von is far right. So that's just how far gone the liberals are. That basically, if you're a moderate, you're far right. And if you're a moderate liberal, you're a conservative in the liberals' eyes. If you're a moderate liberal. Like the left is like in Looney Tune land at this point.
And that is why we say our prayers. We are all his children.
She do be looking at the camera like that too. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Why we say our prayers. God. And that is why we say our prayers. We are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
sweet cream foam chai ice matcha. And Bella will have all organic hot cup. Yes, everything organic.
Yo, that's crazy. they got Erika Kirk doing Pilates. Oh man. Oh, is that really true? Hold on for a sec. So B Watkins says Hammerhand is about to make a live stream about this, crying about how disrespectful Druski is to this poor widow worth millions and who is making money off of her husband's demise, and get angry at everyone. Is that because I think somebody did tell me about that Hammerhand was defending Erika Kirk, and I did see some of that. Is that damn? So that means it wasn't just my eyes playing tricks on me. Oh man. But shout out to Hammerhand. I still have way more respect for a Hammerhand than I do like an Angry Man and these guys. Believe it or not. I got way more respect for Hammerhand than most of the people in the so-called Black manosphere. Believe it or not. So it is what it is. But it's just, yeah, there was a lot of people that were upset. That there's a lot of people upset right now. There were people upset with Jason Whitlock, that Jason Whitlock had questions for Erika Kirk, and they said that Jason Whitlock was bringing up the race card because Jason Whitlock felt that if Erika Kirk wasn't a blonde white woman, they felt like he felt like if Erika Kirk wasn't a blonde white woman, there would be more questions for her. But it's more than that. She's an asset for them people, and ninjas know what I'm talking about when I'm saying them people. She's an asset for those people. You know what I mean? So she's not going to get. She's never going to get slandered anyways, whether she's white or black, whatever. She's an asset to the deep state. So a lot of people, they're still kind of like right now, when it came to the Charlie Kirk / Erika Kirk situation, but specifically the Charlie Kirk situation, it's almost like white people's I won't say white people in general. I would say it's almost like white conservatives' George Floyd moment, if that makes sense. Like, it's something that they kind of wanted to get behind, but it's not a movement that they fully understand. They don't even fully understand why he got assassinated. This is like Charlie Kirk didn't get assassinated because a liberal got mad. It's way deeper than that. You know what I mean? So it's you got a lot of Caucasian conservatives. They're having their George Floyd moment, basically. You know how like ninjas took it too far with with George Floyd. It's kind of it's similar. It's similar. It's a bit of a lazy comparison. I'll admit it's a bit of a lazy comparison, but a lot of Caucasian conservatives, I don't think they fully understand why Charlie got assassinated. It's not because of some liberal dating some transformer and the liberal got mad. I said the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination, or no, I think I did the stream a day after the assassination. I said Charlie Kirk was the perfect sacrifice because liberals are going to laugh too hard. Conservatives are going to get way too emotional. and it will give the conservatives their excuse to push whatever they need to push. Meanwhile, they get to wash their hands behind the scenes because the blood is really on the conservatives' hands. I believe Orange Man has something to do with this, because I've been very suspect of Orange Man ever since that assassination. I believe he has something to do with this, but especially Erika. I think she is an asset of the deep state, and she definitely is responsible. I would definitely put a lot of responsibility of Charlie's demise to her. And it's not the first time the deep state has used women to get to certain men of influence, But that's a whole other story for another day.
Are you good? 4, 3, 2. Hold your chest lifted. We're gonna lift.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country.
They got the police and the black police officer in the back like, hey.
In America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs. Yes. Because they are the ones who matter most.
I just got the that's pretty spot on. It's pretty spot on. By the way, most of the conservative women in the Twitter space, that's how they've built up their following, even though they don't believe none of that. The reason why I know they don't believe none of that, because their actions speak louder than words. Who you get with, action speaks louder than words. And by the way, who exposed Erika Kirk for being a lesbian? Who did that? I think that was that Candace Owens that exposed Erika Kirk? Like somebody, they came out with like some old videos and some pictures. I'm looking at Erika Kirk. I'm like, oh, she a dyke. Yo, I'm like, I didn't understand why I couldn't pick up on it at first. I don't know why I couldn't pick up on it, but she a dyke. Erika Kirk, or even if she's not a dyke now, she definitely used to be. I saw some pictures of her where I was like, oh, never mind. She definitely a carpet muncher. Yeah, man. Yes. You should have seen them photos. I was looking at it, and then I saw like a photo with her with that beanie. I was like, oh nah, she yo, she definitely play on both sides. Oh, for sure. Those pictures, I saw them pictures, I was like, oh hell no. Why could I not pick it up on my my gaydar? Why couldn't my gaydar didn't go off when I saw her. By the way, I'll say this, especially ever since I started listening to Corey Holcomb, my gaydar has been on 100%, meaning like anytime I had a suspicion, I was right. Almost every single other time I had a suspicion it was right. I'm talking about when it comes to women and men. When I was recently at the retreat, there was a girl I know. I was in the basement, in the arcade, because they had a little arcade spot. It was empty. Nobody was there. The studio was right next to it. And then I saw a girl I know who's I would consider her a colleague. Not necessarily a friend, but a colleague and associate. I saw her come down with a girl I know, another girl I know. And for some reason, I had like this, like my spidey senses was going off the whole time, because they was like kind of talking. They were like, hey, Chris, whatever. I was like, hey, what's up? Right. But it's like the senses that I was getting from that interaction was like, it was like everything in my body was telling me, yo, you got to leave the basement. And it was like the same sensation that I get when, like, when you have a homeboy, he brings a girl downstairs and he really wants to hold He really wants the whole space to himself so he can spit game, run some game on his broad and blah blah blah. And I was like, what the? Why am I getting this? And the stuff that they were talking about for that brief minute, I was like, why am I getting this like everything in my body is telling me leave these hoes alone. They need the space to themselves. They need the couch to themselves. But I'm like, why am I getting this feeling? Later on, I end up asking a friend of hers, I'm like, does such and such, does she like girls? And he immediately started laughing. He's like, how did you know? it's almost like it's like an open secret that this individual is a lesbian. But mostly it's not that she's a lesbian, she just really hates men, apparently. I had no idea. I had no idea. Every time I saw her, she was very nice to me. I was nice to her. She always, anytime I ask her for a favor, she always grants it. No attitude, no none of that. I always gave her credit for being pretty and all this nonsense. And I'm like, I had no idea she was but I was like, I knew it. I'm like, something was in my soul was telling me this bitch like bitches. When I saw her, like the way she rolled down, they weren't holding hands, but the way they came down, I was like, huh. My gaydar has been on point. Oh man. Straight up, man. For the shout out to Corey Holcomb, because this is certain things that you'll see and you just ignore it. You know, you'll just ignore it because you're like, nah, it can't be. But I was just thinking, like, nah, this girl too. Maybe in my mind, because I'm thinking, like, nah, she's too pretty. But she is a single mom, right? She has a kid. She's a powerhouse. She's a powerhouse, for what I know of her. But she is a single mom. Right. So it is what it is. B. Watkins says, LOL, during the Charlie Kirk stream, Hammerhand was getting really angry at all the questioning we were doing that day. Oh man. You know, like I said, let's I'm gonna give let's I don't want to roast Hammerhand because I got like Hammerhand, one of the OGs, like especially when you're talking about when I was in college. So like I don't want to OD, you know. I'll give him a pass. Oh man. XVY Jay-Z says, I never thought about that, but it makes sense. You could talk about everyone but the small hats. Yes. It says Candace Owens defending her man Charlie. Yeah, like people were trying to bring up, like they were trying to discredit Candace Owens just because they say, oh nah, she's just his former side chick. I'm like, man, if that's true, that's even worse. Because we already know them side chicks show more loyalty. Anyways, that's a whole other story. That's a whole other story. Pyro says it's true. The gaydar do be ticking whenever you see people acting different. Yeah, if they acting a little bit abnormally, and especially in the music industry, it's just common. It's common. So I'm like, especially like at this point, I'm basically used to it. So when I find out when somebody is living an alternative type of lifestyle, it's not even a shock to me anymore. Tenacity 38 says Hammerhand is still the man. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I still respect Hammerhand more than most of these ninjas in the Black Manosphere, believe it or not. And people might call me a coon for that, and that's fine. But I'm talking about the information that Hammerhand put me on, the stuff that he talked about, his knowledge about the system, the family court system, especially at the time when I had no idea what this stuff was. And I was able, thanks to people like Hammerhand, I was able to really gauge what's going on. XVYJZ says, I'm curious as to why they haven't gotten Myron. He goes extremely hard on the small hats. Well, that's because Myron entertains well, right? So Myron, he worked for the feds at one point. So people like that, like a Myron Gaines, they'll have like friends in high places that are amused by people like that. And so they'll give people like Myron a pass because he's amusing. Same with Fuentes. These guys are plants, but the way they talk about the small hats, they get away with it because the powers that may be, they find these guys funny. They are genuinely entertained by these guys. I thought you were different, Chris. Why you tap dancing for them folk? Oh man, Stoned Dinner. He says Erika Kirk is from Central Casting. Trump. Orange Man uses Central Casting. If you know, you know. Yeah, let's not even go into that. By the way, that's how a lot of people find their wives, through that. But anyways. Exactly. Tenacity 38 says Charlie died because he did not support a certain country anymore. And I don't even think, like me personally, I still think he was in support. He just had questions for him. That's all. You're like I said, you're not allowed to have questions for that regime, those people in power. You're not allowed. His job was to influence the young people, to gain their support, to gain their ears, to gain, the hearts and minds and souls of the young people. And Charlie had a lot of influence. And if you had a guy like that was openly, oh no, do not look this up. XVYJZ, you're gonna have a bug on your computer, meaning you're gonna have all of a sudden you're gonna have people. This is like stuff like what Stone Dinner is talking about. I found that out from somebody else. I ain't never looked it up. They looked it up for me, and I was able to take their word for it because then I was able to confirm it with other people. But anyways, back to what I was saying. If you had a guy like a Charlie Kirk, if you had a guy like a Charlie Kirk openly opposing the war, which he already did openly oppose, but like at the level that he was at, if the liberals started catching on that, oh, Charlie Kirk is actually not that bad of a guy, that would have been that would be very inconvenient for this time period. That would have been very inconvenient. Because imagine if Charlie Kirk goes rogue like a Candace Owens, right? He goes rogue. When it comes to votes, he would be able to get the conservative and the liberal vote. You know what I mean? So this is these are the politics that go into stuff like this. I'm just saying, like, it's fine. Yeah, you can search it. I'm just saying, like, stuff like that. I'd be afraid to search certain stuff, especially ever since Hammerhand talked about what happened to him and other people. Like, I remember Zoe Williams was talking about how the feds came at his door because like one of these mass shooters named him in one of the manifestos, and then the feds came at his door. And then Hammerhand talked about his situation with the feds. So it's like you got to just be careful because it's a bit of a rabbit hole. Like when you see things like that, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to what you once knew. Once you find out how cold-blooded this game is. Let's look at some of these comments. Oh man, this is funny. Somebody asked Grok, "Who is this?" And Grok says, "That's Erika Kirk, the actress / comedian starring in Druski's satirical skit." Oh man. But that was spot on. That was a spot on impression. That was spot on. Somebody put Michelle Obama in a beard and muscles. This gif, this is gonna be this gif right here. This is hilarious. This is gonna be a very funny gif down the line. The police officer, when she says specifically all white men. Oh yeah, by the way, for context, somebody already did a side-by-side context just to show you this. He's not like this is really not satire. This is just him repeating what he saw.
Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man, especially a young white male man. Don't ever let anyone talk down to you. We need strong men out there. Don't let any
protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Protect all men in America.
That police officer's close up is always that's gonna get me every single time. But anyways. Oh yeah. I'll say this, that is true. So I saw this note right here. Somebody said, with all due respect and actual concern and seriousness, please protect Druski at all costs. I'm dead ass. Ain't no telling how they might take this one. Yeah, there's certain assets that you're not supposed to talk about, right? Fresh and Fit learned the hard way when they was making fun of, Logan Paul's fiance. People think it was their views. No, it's because the Paul brothers are connected to some interesting people. Their family lineage is very interesting, to say the least. Somebody in the streamer world just got exposed. It's somebody who I've been mentioning for a while now. Somebody's last name, a very popular streamer in the Kick / Twitch streaming verse, just recently, like this week, they did the research and they found out his real last name, and they found out that basically his ancestors were mobsters in the early 1920s, the 1900s. A very popular streamer, and I've been saying, like, I've been mentioning this for a while. Like, there's a lot of these descendants of these mobsters, descendants of mafia, and they're in the streamer world. I just didn't want to say their names because I just thought it was obvious when you looked at them, when you look at their situation, you looked at how far they were able to go, their family lineage. Now, I'm not making any I'm not casting any aspersions. But you guys just got to do the math, right? And I'm not calling the Paul brothers something, but it's just interesting. It seems like anytime somebody goes against the Paul brothers, something crazy bad happens to them. So I'm like, nah, there's something to that. And then when you do the research behind the Paul brothers, you'll find out what you need to know. But there's a specific streamer that they got mob ties in their family background. Right? Tenacity 38 says Charlie would have helped contribute to the upcoming disastrous midterms for Team Red. All of them will be impeached. White male, man. He said clavicular. No, it was there was a man, there's a boy who Sneeko was very jealous of. Sneeko was very jealous of this boy because Andrew Tate wanted to hang out with him more than Sneeko at one point. This is a very popular streamer in the Twitch / Kick universe. Yes, exactly. Now you know who it is. Yeah, he recently just got exposed. They found out his real last name, and I've been talking about this specific guy. I'm like, there's a couple, and then there's this one confirmed person. This guy has mob ties. I've been saying that for about a year and a half now, and now they're finally putting it out there. I just don't want to put these people on blast because it's so obvious to me. Like I said, I live in Connecticut. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. It's 80% mob owned. 80%. I'll say 70 to 80% mob owned. A lot of these establishments out here. So this is real life. This is the reality. B. Watkins says all the so-called honorable conservatives, good guys are always dumb fools getting outplayed. Only AH was cunning and brutal and knew how to outplay him, but even he got outplayed. He said, "Oh, I know who you mean." I was like, AH, who are you? Oh, never mind. Oh man, you gotta yeah. My dumb ass. I was like, wait, who's AH? Oh, never mind. He said, so what hope does a naive college kid like Kirk have a chance? Yeah, Charlie Kirk, he thought his handlers gave him the permission to question everybody. No, you're not allowed to question everybody. No, there's certain people you're not allowed to talk about. And everybody knows it at this point. It's not even a secret. But shout out to Kanye West. Yeah, his sister. Yep. This guy that I was talking about that has mob ties. His sister mysteriously died. Just out of the blue. Just dies. But anyways, a very popular streamer. But I gave people the most obvious hint. I said Sneeko was very jealous of this streamer. He doesn't want to say it, but he was very jealous that that Andrew Tate wanted to meet with him and invited him to the big house per se, and not Sneeko, who was a super Andrew Tate fan at the time. That's a very obvious hint right there. And then the sister death, that's an obvious hint. But I thought with him, I thought it'd be obvious, but anyways. A lot of these so-called, mobsters, they have small hat backgrounds. We think a lot of them are not Italian or as Italian as you think they are. A lot of them got small hat roots. Yeah, no, not that guy. Not that. It's the guy that I'm talking about. He recently got exposed because they found out his last name, the last name that he perpetrates, is not what it really is. They looked up his real last name, and they found out that this boy here, he has mobsters in his past. He said, not Jack Doherty. Yeah, but basically his name starts with an A, right? The streamer, his name starts with an A. Very famous streamer. Very famous. If not, definitely a top 5 famous streamer. He's a small hat. He's called himself a good small hat. Hold on. B. Watkins says honorable Southern conservative gentlemen think that with honorable Southern values, they will win the Republican path. Yeah. I try not to, dim their optimism. especially like the real younger dudes. Like you'll have a guy like for example, Juiced Up Johnny. I don't remember how old he is, but he is on the younger side. I try not to dampen guys like that, their optimism and all this stuff. I just try to put these guys on game. Exactly. Mr. A, last name R. Exactly. XVY Jay-Z says, makes sense why this streamer always does such stuff with gangster rappers and they're afraid to do something. That's right there, what you just described. That should be the telltale sign where you have this guy, like this guy will be doing crazy things with these ninjas, and they'll just sit there like bitches and take the treatment. That's how you know that guy got juice. And I'm like, oh, that guy got connects. Not some just regular connects. This guy got connects. But anyway, that was a funny skit. That was a funny skit. I first, you know, damn, this is crazy. Somebody said this looks like Netanyahu's wife. Oh man. But anyways, why'd they put this bitch in drag? But anyways, that's all I got for the skit. Let's see if I have any other videos. So yeah, I got this. We got the Sam Frank. We got her. Oh, you know what? Let me before I leave, let me do this last video. This is gonna be some very interesting stuff. I want you to listen to this story right here. So, I'll summarize the whole Erika Kirk thing. Bottom line is, most of the conservative women, they basically act like how Druski put it. It's not just Erika Kirk. That's basically all of them. They use the talking points. They get their fame. They get their numbers. They get their money. Pure grifters. But anyways, I'm going to let's do this story before we leave. This woman right here. This should tell you everything you need to know about what kind of society we're living in right here. This woman, this young lady right here, she's going to talk about she's going to talk about the relationship between her and her toxic mother, and how she exposed her toxic mother for doing drugs, and how it basically drove a wedge between her side of the family and the mom's side of the family, and that if it wasn't for her dad having her back, she would have committed self-deletion. So this is very interesting. I want you to listen to this story, and I want to hear your guys' reactions, and then I'm gonna bring you to left field right after you guys watch this story right here.
I accidentally blew up my entire family when I was 16, and nothing's been the same since. So growing up, we only had one bathroom, and we had two sets of towels. The towels that me, my dad, and my brother were allowed to use, and then like the good towels that only guests and my mother were allowed to use. One day I get out of the shower and there's no more regular towels. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna take one of the good towels. And immediately when I grab one, this little pouch falls out. I recognize this pouch. This pouch is the exact pouch that my mother used to give me for the tooth fairy. So immediately I'm like, why is this here? Obviously I know but I don't know what kind. I'm 16. I know nothing about nothing.
So she picked up one of the towels and crack basically fell out of her mother's belongings.
Brother had recently moved back home, so I just thought it was his, but he says no. We obviously know it's not my dad's because my dad is a health nut. He doesn't drink. He works out every single day. We just know it's not his. And my mother is already an alcoholic. So we just already know. My brother wanted to handle it himself, but I felt like it was my responsibility since I was the one that found it. And so I said I would tell my dad. I put it back where I found it. I tell my dad, and my dad goes and finds it for himself. Later on, my dad tries to bring it up to her, and immediately she is defensive, lying, swearing up and down that it's not hers. And it gets to the point where he says, literally, do I have to go to the kids and every single one of the kids' friends that have entered this house and ask them if this is their... She breaks down, sobbing that it is hers. It's only been one time. Obviously, she's lying. And
Anyways, my bad. Hold on. The crackhead tooth fairy. I'm just assuming it's crack. It probably was something worse than that, but I'm gonna assume if it was in a little pouch and then it just fell out of a towel, it was probably crack. It was probably crack. I can't assume maybe because if it was heroin, it wouldn't be in some pouch. Like when you're talking about heroin, you're talking about a whole case, a briefcase. You gotta hide that ish in. But anyway,
just has this whole dramatic sob story, right? My dad was trying to protect me. Whole dramatic. It's only been one time. Obviously, she's lying. And just has this whole dramatic sob story, right? My dad was trying to protect me, so he told her that he was the one who found it because me and her were already having issues. She was being extremely manipulative, controlling, and constantly trying to pit me and my dad against each other. And because I was 16, nothing I said was ever valid. So with all of this going on, I was freaked out. I didn't want to talk to my friends.
So that's interesting. She mentions in there, she's open and honest and said that, look, me and my mom, we didn't have the best relationship anyways. And that she was trying to pit me and my dad against each other. And she was able to pick out her mom's manipulation at a young age. So this is some very interesting stuff so far. Very interesting stuff.
I talked to my cousin, who was like one of my best friends. And he tells me, I'm so sorry you had to find out this way, but it's kind of a known fact that your mother gets down like that.
Now, that's very interesting. She says that because there's a lot of things that, like, you'll have a mother, the mother of the family, she'll be suffering from mental health issues and the dad will never know. The kids will never know, but the whole mom side of the family, they know before you do. And they will still allow the dad to marry the person. They'll keep the mom's secret if the mom is a mental health case, if she's a drug addict, if she's an alcoholic, etc., because they don't want to have to take care of the broad. So the poor sap that ends up taking her seriously, they're like, yeah, just marry her. She's a good woman. Meanwhile, she's a whole mental health case.
So apparently everybody knew but us. About a week later, my dad calls me and he tells me she knows it was you who found it and told me. Your cousin told his mom, who then told your mom, be careful, watch out, she's coming for you.
So the mom finds out that she was the one that found out that she was the one that found the drugs in the first place and exposed her. So now the mom is going to get mad at the daughter for finding out that she was a crackhead.
Home later that day, and I'll never forget the look she gave me. She was giving me the nastiest death stare. And she gave me the death stare all the time, but this one was special. She's slamming things. She's staring at me while she's slamming things. She's just being super passive aggressive. And I already know what time it is. Like, she's just going to be coming for me for a very long time. So the next day I get home from school and she's gone. She packed her bags, didn't tell anyone where she's going, and she left. We assumed that she went to my cousin's, and she did, because later that night, her side of the family starts blowing me up. Mind you, I'm 16 and they're blaming me for everything. My dad takes my phone and...
Isn't that interesting, guys? At 16, they're already, their mom's side of the family is blaming her for blowing up the family because she found her drugs. Isn't that amazing? This is where's Jesse Lee Peterson when you need him?
He's like, absolutely not. Like, these people are being crazy. You're not dealing with this. And
hold on for a sec.
I'm 16 and they're blaming me for everything. My dad takes my phone and he's like, absolutely not. Like, these people are being crazy. You're not dealing with this. And who cares what they think? Then my aunt, my godmother, sends me a message saying that she's known since I was a child that I was evil and manipulative, that all the problems in my family stem from me, that I'm a brat, and basically that this world would just be a better place without me, and that she's lived with an addict for an endless amount of years, so I should have just accepted it. And I just want to clarify.
Very interesting that they are telling a 16-year-old this. This is very interesting stuff, man.
My mother being an addict isn't what makes her a horrible person. Even if she was sober, she would still be a horrible person because that's just who she is at her core, honestly. But anyway, hearing that from my aunt when I was already struggling with not wanting to be here anymore was.
I'll say this: there is some truth to what she's saying in terms of being a drug addict doesn't make you a bad person per se, because there's just some people, they're just bad people. Like there's plenty of people that I've met. They were able to turn their life around, or they used to do drugs, but they're not bad people. It's just they just couldn't handle life in a certain way. So I understand where she's coming from, because a lot of people want to use the drugs as an excuse. Oh, if he went to drugs and then he became with or without the drugs, that person was probably still a bad person.
Honestly. But anyway, hearing that from my aunt when I was already struggling with not wanting to be here anymore was a lot. Where I grew up, teens unaliving themselves was truly an epidemic. And if it wasn't for my dad literally dropping everything that day and coming to pick me up from school and making sure that I was good, I can't say that I would have made it through. After that, me and her family have had no relationship, and that was the beginning of the end of me and my mother. So me and my brother have been no contact with her for over 11 years.
Damn. She said her and her brother have been no contact with her mother for over 11 years. And then specifically because the mom side of the family were saying such mean and harmful things to her that she considered taking her own life at 16. This is some very interesting stuff, man. This is some interesting stuff.
And she's never truly tried to make amends with us. And she just continuously paints us as the villains and blames us for everything. So yeah, all of this happened because I grabbed the wrong towel.
Now, by the way, this is also a part of the reason why. This is a part of the reason why whatever dirt that the mom is doing, the kids will go along with it. Because if they don't go along with it, their reputation is going to be ruined, just like the dad's reputation is going to be ruined. The mom is going to be she's going to start making separate group chats, from she's going to start making separate group chats. She's going to start throwing dirt on your name while you're not there and doing all this stuff. You can be a 16-year-old girl and she will send her whole side of the family to attack you and paint you to be the villain, and you're a 16-year-old girl. This is this is some interesting stuff. This is very interesting, man. Watch this. This is where this is going to go left field right here. This is where it's going to go left field. So before I bring you to the climax of this, let me read some of these comments. He says, women and accountability don't go together. XVY Jay-Z's, I agree with her. No contact for peace of mind. Yeah, I know a couple of girls that they went through this with their mom, where basically the dad, the daughter, and the son is the villain because they're not taking the mom's side. And it's like to a point where they wanted to commit self-deletion because their parents, specifically their mom, threw so much dirt on their name at such a young age, where basically a family reunion is basically impossible at this point. This is very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. He said, wait, they do the same thing we do at Jamaica. Yeah, it's this is an international thing. This is not just a one person thing. Yeah, toxic family life, right? This happens a lot. And this is why a lot of the times the kids will end up just siding with the mom because the mom is being a terrorist behind closed doors. You know what I mean? That's why even the dads won't even trip over it. They'll be like, well, at least the kids will be in a, reputational wise, they have nothing to do with this. They just want to live their lives, right? But usually when the daughter, I'll say specifically, if you have a situation when the daughter and the mom already don't get along, and then like the daughter catches the mom being a hoe or being a drug addict, that relationship is never going to be fixed, because they already, especially at that age, the mom and the daughter, depending how things went with their relationship growing up, if they catch their mom being a hoe and then they take their dad's side, the mom is gonna forever. I'm talking about that rift is never gonna that is never gonna be fixed. So this is very interesting. Now watch this. This is where it's gonna get left field for you. I want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention to the comments. When you look at these comments, half of the comments are trashing her. Do you understand? Do you understand how crazy this is? Look at this. Just to show you that I'm not making this stuff up. First comment, which is the top comment, the most viewed and top most engaged comment. This comment right here says, "Why do people feel the need to get on the internet and share their whole lives with the world? I think she has bigger problems than her mother. She is in desperate need for attention, obviously." Isn't this interesting? No mention of her mother traumatizing her family when she was 16 years old. Nobody's mentioning how traumatizing it is for a young girl to find out one of her parents is on drugs. How traumatizing it is for where you have one side of the family sending off a whole side of a family to become your enemy, so much to the point that she was about to commit self-deletion if it wasn't for her father. I thought it was going to be, you know what I thought the comments were going to be? I thought the comments were going to be mostly the normies saying, "Hey, this is why it's good to have a dad in your life," and, blah, blah. I thought it was going to be, the normal stuff. "Oh, you see, this is why you need a dad." When you look at this comment section, I see no mention of the dad. I was like, I'm looking at this comment. I'm like, what the hell is going on? We're victim blaming somebody. I'm talking about she saw this at 16. She was a victim. Now, let me continue to scroll down. Now here you have like one joke here, right? Somebody said her mom would have gotten away with it if she had just donned the effing laundry. Now, I don't know. He's probably being facetious here, right? But I'm just assuming that's a joke. So right here, another comment right here, the next top comment, the next most engaged comment, and the second most liked comment as well. Look at this comment right here. It says, "She said they were already having problems, so she told on her mother to spite her. She didn't snitch because she wanted her mother to get better or quit using. 16 is old enough to be intentionally manipulative." Do you guys see this comment right here? Isn't this interesting? Whoever this Tone Trades feller is, this is a man saying this. Men have been groomed to, you're not allowed to say anything about mom. Mama can do no wrong. They will throw kids under the bus before they blame mama for anything. Don't you do you see this? So it's not even a woman thing per se. This is just, you can't say nothing about mama. Mama knows best, right? Everything. Mama knows best. She can do no wrong. This is amazing, man. This is amazing. She's saying that at 16, because she found her mom's drugs by accident, that she wasn't supposed to snitch. She wasn't supposed to tell her dad about the drugs that she found. she was supposed to keep it secret at 16. That she was old enough to know that she was being intentionally manipulative at 16. This is amazing, man. This is amazing. Here we are. We're victim blaming a 16-year-old at the time. Meanwhile, you can be. This is interesting. Thank you, Pyro. Now you see where I'm going with this. So Pyro, this is exactly where I'm going with this. He says, now 16 is old enough to be manipulative now. They're saying it when it's against the mama's programming. Exactly. So that's exactly where I was going. So I'm like, so now you think 16 is old enough to be manipulative. Now 16 is the age of, she knew exactly what she was doing with her mom. Her and her mom weren't getting along, so she was happy that her mom. What? This is interesting. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. Yeah, exactly. Nobody's talking about no prefrontal nothing, no frontal lobe, no prefrontal cortex. She knew what she was doing. She was just trying to throw her mom under the bus, and they weren't getting along. And what? Wow. I was shocked, and no mention of the father at all for keeping her from committing self-deletion, from keeping her for making sure she had a normal state of mind so she didn't lose herself in the witchcraft that the mom side of the family were trying to put on the young child because she found out that the mom is a druggie. Yep, we're victim blaming now. You see, this is very interesting. This is some very interesting stuff. Wow. Yep, gaslighting her experiences. I thought the comment section was going to be talking about, like, it was going to be blue pill, meaning I thought it was just going to be them just talking about, this is why the dad's there, and that. Nope, it's just they just go in on her. Wow, I'm shocked. Then you'll have a bitch like Ruby Rose, where Ruby Rose has tweets where she was 16 years old talking about how she got to lie to what like when it comes to celebrities, you got to lie about your age so she can sleep with older men. And then you will call out Ruby Rose for being a scam artist at that age, and they will say that you're a victim blamer and that you're a predator. Like I'm flabbergasted. This is like, here we have this is a victim. This is a victim. Like, so much so, like, she's so much of a victim where me personally, like say if my brother went out with a girl like this, I would say, look, I wouldn't go out with a girl like this, because even though, yeah, she has good intentions by you, yeah, she loves her dad, and yes, this is a good sign, but usually women that have tumultuous, really like volatile relationships with their mom, they're usually, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So yeah, they're enemies now, but usually the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree when it comes to women that have really vile relationships with their mother. So that's how much of a victim she is. Like, she's a victim where she's not only a victim, but she's damaged. This is some damaging stuff. Her mom damaged her. This is a victim. They will cape for all types of hoes only until until the hoe puts mama on blast. It's crazy. It's wild. Yeah, he said, B. Watkins says, mama's boys make me sick. Yeah, he says, an example of women being women's worst enemies. Yep. Like, this is victim blaming. But they will never, like, people like that for some reason they don't get called out for victim blaming. It's interesting. So shout out to these next two comments for actually calling out the mom. Shout out to Paige for calling for giving blessings to her strong father, right? Somebody said this is the epitome of toxic Latino culture. All right. Anyways, that's enough. That's enough. I didn't even want to say, look, situations like that, where of similar situations I've heard of certain similar situations, is where it's always a Latino family. So here you have another person. Why do you guys share so much on the internet? It's crazy. It's 50% support and then 50%. I'm thinking, like, but this was a actual victim. Shouldn't it be unilateral? A pretty unilateral decision. Like, this is a victim. Nope, it's 50-50. This is wild work. Yep. Shout out to this comment right here. He says too many in the comments are blaming the daughter and coddling the drug addict mother. The mother is the adult. Taking drugs is a choice, one that a good parent won't choose, and that only they are responsible for. The fact that the mom lied about it should lose her credibility. Exactly. Because according to her story, she denied it at first and went from denial, then to it ain't no big deal, to her leaving the family, then to spreading rumors about her daughter. Because let's keep it a buck. When the mom sent off her family members at her own daughter, she probably said way more things about the daughter. She probably put her daughter on blast for being a hoe or being a slut and doing this and doing that. Like, she said a whole lot more than just, I got exposed by my daughter for taking drugs. She said a lot more than that. Like, if you have family members sending threatening messages to you, sending nasty messages to you, damaging your mental health, that means the mom said way more than just, she found my stash. It's way more than she found my stash. She probably was doing a whole bunch of slut shaming and saying all types of nonsense about her. She probably accused her of doing drugs, and then probably, her of doing all types of dastardly things. He says, somebody said families are a lot like the government. They will allow horrible things to happen, just not to rock the boat, change the status quo. Families keeping secrets for the family is such an epidemic. I hope her mom gets it together before it's too late. Somebody said, I guess having oh man, so what? Here we have another girl that's saying that I had a similar experience. She says, I guess having a drugged out mom helped me understand from the start what blowing up the family meant. So usually when a daughter, so basically if a daughter is saying that I basically blew up the family, that means she caught her mom doing something, whether it be drugs, whether it be an affair. Oh man. So here we have an African here trying to defend the drug addict mother. Oh, sorry. Oh, this is not an African. Whoa. Well, this is a Chinese person. Here he is defending the mother. He says most times when you find a terrible feud between the mother and her teenage daughter within a family unit, both the mother and daughter have behavioral issues. It's crazy how he gets to blame a 16-year-old daughter. This is crazy. It's crazy the kid when we decide to blame, when we pick and choose, when we blame kids for stuff. I'm not even going to read the rest of that comment. We're going to stop it. First of all, it's too long, and second of all, that's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. We're not blaming. I'm not going to blame a 16-year-old adolescence for exposing her mother for doing drugs, and she wasn't even looking for the drugs. This bitch was so irresponsible. Like a 16-year-old is not even supposed to be finding something like this, but she's at fault. You know what this reminds me of? Chronic had just dropped a video. This was very interesting. This is I can't believe I'm bringing this up now. It's crazy how this is all coming together. Chronic dropped a video which was very interesting. It was a young black boy who got hit by a car. It was like a 5 or 6-year-old boy who got hit by a car, and it was all these black women around, and it's like everybody was too lazy to watch out for him. Did you guys see that Chronic video? I'm not gonna play it, but Chronic had brought up where, because the boy, it was a young boy. He was shooting basketball, and then he just ends up kicking the ball on the street, right? And Chronic was saying that there was hoes in the comment section blaming the boy for causing his own death. They were like, why he's like, why did this, he said, why he said there was women in the comment section saying, why did this boy, the 6-year-old boy, kick the ball in the street? Why did he have to do that? And I was like, wow. And then I remember looking up the story or the video, and Chronic wasn't lying about that. There were black women in there saying, why did this boy kick the ball in the street? And Chronic was like, he's a 6-year-old boy. This is why you're supposed to have people watching him. All these broads around, nobody wanted to watch him. I'm like, y'all were that lazy. Y'all couldn't be like, hey, because all you had to do is literally all you have to be at the window, and if the boy goes a little bit too far, hey, you knock on that way, hey, stay on, don't cross that street. But mom, the ball, I don't care, don't cross that street. That's how I grew up. That's what I saw growing up. They were too lazy to do that. And if there were people blaming the 6-year-old boy for kicking the ball on the street, and that's what caused his death, I was like, wow. But I can't say, but me, it's illegal for me to say. It's illegal for me to talk about a 16-year-old deciding to have a 26-year-old boyfriend in college, or a 16-year-old going out with a drug dealer, and I'm not even allowed to even say that. They will call me a victim blamer. They will call me a predator apologist. I'm not allowed to call out 16-year-old girls for sneaking into nightclubs and bars and all this stuff. And they will call me a victim blamer, and they'll say that this makes me a predator. But they will blame a 6-year-old boy for getting hit by the car because he kicked the ball on the street after missing a shot. It's you know what, we, like I said, we don't care about kids. We really don't care about kids. Anything that absolves the mother first, it's the mother first, and then everybody else follows. Anything to absolve mothers or female guardians in general of responsibility, they will throw that person, whether it be a kid, whether it be a boy, whether it be a girl, under the bus. It's wild. It's wild work. It's wild work. But please watch this Undead Chronic video. I don't even really put Undead Chronic's videos up in terms of like, I don't really be like, watch this, but this one right here, watch this. It's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. It's like when we decide to victim blame, it's crazy. When people decide to do this. Let me see this. B. Watkins says that's he said they said she was 16 and just trying to survive and outplay her crazy mom who 100% controlled her Zimp husband with Punyiti. He says too many families try to save face at the cost of everyone's well-being. Yeah, I've seen that many times. He says all I will say is that women only have energy to chase Chad and Tyrone. Yeah. And well, because like I always say, is those, like I said, the ISS ninjas, them drug dealers, the criminals, they usually get first dibs. Then the Chads, then the Tyrones, right? Then the Jamals, then or I'll say the Jamals, then the Brads, right? But them troublemakers, they usually get first dibs. The drug dealers, the criminals, the scammers, even in the suburbs, they usually get first dibs. Then the jocks. B. Watkins says, that said, I also blame the drivers, everyone who drives too fast and jump. That said, women do not like accountability. Some will literally go suicidal if they do. Said it's one of the Pyro said it's one of the worst people I have ever seen. B. Watkins says, I have an aunt who unfortunately her child drowned and she couldn't save him, and it was her fault, and she went mad and still constantly repeated the kid's name. She just shut down. I mean, it's sad, but it gives an idea of how women work. Yeah, that's that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. And usually when stuff like when you got these kids out here, they're not being watched. I remember there was an incident that happened, a crazy incident that almost happened with this boy. And I don't know, parents don't want to watch their kids, but it is what it is. This boy, when I was in middle school. This boy during a family picnic, he just goes. There was a pool. I was at my uncle's house. He goes down the slide into the pool, and he started drowning. So the people that use the slide, you just assume that he knew. People just assume that he knew how to swim, but the parents, they should have known that. Look, he doesn't know how to swim. He shouldn't be going down that slide. That slide leads to the deep end of the pool. This boy was drowning. And do you know who had to save him? Me. 13-year-old. I was a 13-year-old, bro. At that time, I was 13. I had to save him. It was a whole bunch of women, aunts, fat aunts, a few uncles, but they were out of shape, a lot of them. I had to save him. Because we don't have a whole, but my older cousin, he was inside the house at the time, but that wasn't his child. He came in with his mom. The mom was literally like nowhere in sight. The mom was nowhere in sight. I had to save him. No, everybody was like, oh my God, the kid was drowning. And they were just all watching. And then my cousin, my older female cousin, she pushed me like, Chris, do something. I was just like, man, I just dove in. I had to save this boy. That dude would have literally drowned right in front of everybody's eyes. Everybody what people were all panicking. They didn't know what to do. Nobody wanted to dive in. And I'm just like, I don't even know what's going on. My female cousin literally like, yo, Chris, he's drowning. And I was like, and it's just like my instincts kicked in. My instincts just like, boom, had to save the kid. And what was interesting for the rest of the pool party, because he ended up throwing up outside because he ingested too much of the chlorine water and all that. For the rest of the party, my older male cousin, he stayed outside and he kept a close eye on that boy. So anytime he tried to go back into the deep end, he said, hey, if you go back in the deep end, I'm going to whoop you. Man, I'm just sitting there like, and I had just gotten dry too. I had to dive in with my I had to dive in with my clothes. Wait, did I have to dive in with my clothes? I don't remember if I did have my clothes on, but I remember that I had just gotten dry. I was just like, damn, I'm wedding. God damn. But I'm like, but at the same time, I remember I'm like, where's his mom at? Where? Nowhere in sight. Nowhere in sight, bro. But anyways, Pyro says you can't even call out 16-year-olds for enabling predators. They will call you the predator. B. Watkins says it's why I sometimes fear of having a kid because I would constantly be paranoid if I can't take care of them 24/7. I just think you just have to. It's more of just common sense. If you have two parents that are strict enough, but specifically you're giving them common sense and you're also living a life of congruency, meaning like it was easy for like me and my siblings to not do drugs because my parents didn't do drugs. So whatever, like say if we're doing drugs past the age of 21, or say if one of my siblings is starting to drink, say if, because we still don't do drugs, but it's easier when you have that example because our parents didn't do drugs. So we don't do drugs. So it's easy because so now if your parents are saying, look, you got to do things like this, you need to be disciplined, you got to do like that, but and at the same time they're living out what they're saying, or better yet, they're not even telling you what to do. They're just a living example of what you're supposed to do. It makes life a lot easier, but the problem is a lot of parents are too busy trying to be performative, or they're doing things in a way where they're not even living what they're trying to tell their kids to become. They're not living a life of discipline. They're telling their kids, hey, make sure you're responsible, do this, but meanwhile they have a whole secret cabinet full of alcohol and all these other things, you know what I mean? So I always think it's the goal of the parent to instill common sense, but not necessarily just talk about it, but you need to be living it as well. And everything should follow suit. You can't control everything in this life, right? We can't control everything. But I believe that after a certain age, you should be able to leave your kids somewhere and then they should be fine. Because the boy was like, I think he was around my age. He couldn't have been, he seemed bigger than me. Yeah, he was taller than me, but he was still a boy, you know? It is what it is. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of women around. They were just panicking. They didn't know what to do. I don't know if they just didn't want to dive because they had their clothes on. They didn't want to mess up their clothes. But man, I'm just... hey, shout out to my female cousin, because she was smart enough to push me like, hey, Chris, you gotta, nobody else gonna do it. Right? Shout out to my female cousin, right? I still like I'll say out of all of the relationships I have, I'll say me and that specific cousin that I just talked about, we probably have the closest one outside of the male cousins that I have. So like obviously like with the cousins that I got, I'm more closer to like my male, like my the male cousin that I showed on YouTube. I'm really closer to him. My older male cousin, he's in his late 40s, and then I have I have a gay male cousin that I haven't physically seen him since I was like 9 years old. He was funny, and I talk to him from time to time via my Instagram. He basically got exiled from the family, right, because of the lifestyle he decided to do. But I still talk to him. I still talk to him via Instagram. Um, right. But in terms of closeness, it's me and that specific female cousin. I don't want to say her name. We're probably the closest. So she has that kind of relationship with me where she can't just push me and do stuff like that. But if it wasn't for her, that boy probably would have drowned. Because I wasn't gonna go on. I didn't even know what was going on. But yeah, I'll say with her, we probably have the closest to this relationship because we've been through shit together. like she knows like my dirt. I know her dirt. She knows like all of my flaws. I know all of the things she did wrong. We've both had our embarrassing, moments. I know most of her friends. She knows my friend. She knows about the situation where the senior girl asked me to prom. She knows about that situation. Like we haven't been in fights per se. We haven't been in spats, but the stuff that we know about each other, it's yeah. You know what I mean? We hold it down for each other. We've both have had our, embarrassing moments with each other where like we knew things about each other where we shouldn't have known. And I'll say like on her end, she knew the certain girls that I've been with that I wasn't supposed to be with, or certain situations that happened to me that were very personal. She only knows about that, right? And the same with her. And I'm not going to go any further because some of the stories that I've mentioned on this channel, I was talking about her. just to teach. I still love her though. I still would do anything for her, right? Pyro says, don't do things that you don't want your kids to do. Exactly. I think that's the most important point. Don't do things that you don't want your kids to do. But anyways, I think that's it for today. I've dragged this out long enough. Shout out to B Watkins. This is all your fault. Oh man, but I was always gonna extend it. Let's keep it a bug. I always say I'm gonna end the stream early, and I never do. The only time you're gonna see me really end the stream early is if I'm doing it like via my phone and I have to go somewhere. Then you'll see me be like, okay, I gotta leave at this time. I gotta end it. But anyways, I don't know what kind of clip to leave it off on. But I'm gonna show you again the clip that I'm going to use for the future. This is the clip that I'm going to use for the future. I'm going to clip this clip. I'm going to clip this. This is going to be one of my intro clips. So I want to replay that. This is a very important clip that I want to replay for the audience.
Use to lie her way.
Have just started?
The original liar is the woman, and she continues to lie her way through life. And now, I'm just saying, and now the offspring of wretched club bitches rule the street.
Offspring of wretched club.
The offspring of wretched club bitches are out there in large numbers. Brothers used to have to worry about the police and stuff like that. Now you have to worry about these misguided children that was raised by a woman who her backup comes from the court system, and the children are trained against the man.
Are you saying
yes
that hold on. Are you saying that a woman cannot raise
Shout out to B Watkins, man. Shout out to you. Salute. Thank you for watching.
A balanced child on her own without the help of a man?
What I'm saying is because diamonds are a girl's best friend. They don't care that the person who is giving them their power is destroying the community. They are still willing to go with that because they get the rewards.
Absolutely. But what about what DT said about balance? This is what I think.
There can never be balance unless the person who is in power, who should be in power, is in power. The people in power now are evil. And women are like, well, fuck it, they in power, so we running with them.
So you saying whoever got the power, they got the women.
Right, so we don't have to worry about the women necessarily because they will follow whoever is in power.
Dr. Mark does not.
Facts.